Y'all, I had no idea that we had new Darko to expect, and I'm very excited about it because I think Tom Barber, as you know, if you frequent the channel, is a phenomenal vocalist. I really like his vibe. I really like the way he does things. I really like his tone and his color and his texture in his voice. And I'm excited to talk about it because I am a full-time vocal coach. I teach people how to go safely and efficiently here on the channel. That's what I do for a living, full-time, 6-7 days a week. And I'm pumped about it because I'm coming off a little bit of bronchitis, and I was going to just do student emails all day because now I'm feeling better, and I've got a lot. I've got a lot. But I saw this and I was like, I've got to react to it. And also, very quickly before we get started, I'm excited because I'm gonna show you how to get something free. This video is sponsored, by the way, by Screamer, by Ablaze Audio. They have been super cool to let me use their plugin. And like I said, later on in the video, I'm gonna show you how to get something totally free, Cardivox customized. But let's go ahead, we'll talk about that later. Let's just jump right into it. Darko US Time Crisis, here we go. Aw. Okay. Well, guys, I was like sitting here and I was like, well, maybe this song doesn't have any screaming. That's okay. That's allowed here. But oh man. Okay. So first and foremost, I'm going to go back a little bit. So we can hear that transition. But so far, like, I am in love with this song. So the intro is very like, almost atmospheric black metal, almost post metal. Like it's got like those big wall of sound vibes that, like, this is not the right. If you are listening to this in the comments and you know what I'm talking about, suggest the bands in below, because it's like, it's not Wolves in the Throne Room, but that's for some reason the first band that came to mind, Wolves in the Throne Room. But it has this like post blackened wall of sound. It sounded like there may have been vocals pushed very, very, very far back. And if any of you are familiar with my band Kardashev, especially our album Liminal Right, you know why I love that. I love metal. I love metal that's technical and that's riffy. Like, I'm very excited for the new Archspire that's coming. I love that. But I deeply love metal that's almost just like a wall of well-produced sound, and those like in there. And it all of a sudden turned into like, if again, old video games, if you ever played Kinetica, right? If you ever played Kinetica, like that drum and bass, like that racing game, oh my God, it was so good. So if we want to talk vocal technique, which is the main reason why we're here, right? I really liked the singing at the beginning, right? A little bit of breathiness on the voice. Hey, very in the front of the face right here, going to sing. I don't know the melody. But he had some parts of his melody, like he was doing some, ooh, you resolve anything like that, and I'm going to love it. I loved how he came in, very in the front of the face, very almost like lazy, not in that he didn't care, but very like contemplative, right? The way he's singing sounds very like, almost like he's sitting and singing to himself, thinking to himself, very very reflective. Let's go ahead and get into the screams though, because that's more of like what I'm here to talk about. So I'm going to go back to like, let's go back to one minute so we can really hear that transition. Also, like, the vibe of this music video too, It's it's like a lyric video, music video, visualizer, whatever you want to call it. But it kind of almost looks like it's like retro 90s, 2000s, like science textbook. I don't know how to say it. If you're one of those people who's like knows the name of every aesthetic in the world, tell me in the comments below what aesthetic this is. Let's keep going though. This is the best Darko song, and I will not be told otherwise. I will not be told otherwise. This, the way that, like, so those highs, right? Those highs. One of the things I love about Tom's highs that are so good are this barky, like, right? It's almost a mid. Like sometimes when I refer to them as highs, people in the comments are like, technically that's a mid. And I'm like, sure, we can call it a mid. It's very close. I think it sits on that border of mid and high, right? And I love, one thing about Tom Barber's voice that I love is how loose his jaw sounds. His jaw sounds so loose, right? And one way that we can find this loose jaw sound is if we imagine eating something that we really dislike and spitting it out. Right. So, for example, for me, I'm about to get some hate in the comments, but I think I mentioned this in a previous video, maybe even the last video, but I really hate apple pie. Disgusting. Like you put an apple in a pie. It can't decide whether it's crispy or soft. It can't decide. It's like damp, like disgusting. Like now, if I come over to your house and you make me a nice apple pie, I'm going to eat it and I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm not going to say anything, but just know it's disgusting. And don't tell me I haven't had a good one. Shush. Right. So if we take this, right, if we take this bite of something we dislike, I think I said this in the last video, but anyway, if we take this bite, I don't want you to make a metal vocal. Don't make a metal vocal. I want you to say, blech. Oh, that's gross. Blech. 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 That's blech. Like if you feel like, okay, if it sounds like you're going to vomit, not if you feel like you're going to vomit, don't vomit when you're doing your vocals. That's not fun. But if it sounds like blech, 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 that's disgusting, blech, oh, gross, blech, right? One thing that you're gonna find. All right, who's texting me? Y'all gotta be quiet. I'm filming. Oh, it's my wife. I should be nicer to my own. Okay, never mind. So anyway, so this sound of like spitting out this food that you don't like, whatever your least favorite food is, right? What this gives you focus on it at like voice acting. Don't do a vocal. Go, oh, that's gross. Blech. Even if there's not a lot of grit. Blech, that's gross. Blech, it's disgusting. Blech. Right? What that gives you is this sort of up and forward mindset for your sound. Now, obviously, if you don't make any distortion at all, that might not be the best place to start. But if you have like even just a basic sound, put those together, and then you get this really loose jaw sound. You can just chew on, right? And he's got a lot of that, and I loved how he's got these compressed like mids going on. And the whole combination of everything with this sort of a beautiful tone and texture, like it feels like something. It sounds like something I really enjoy. I don't want to sound too like pumping my own tires, because this is not Kardashev at all. But like this song has very like Kardashev intentions to it. So I'm listening to it and I'm like, dude, that's the same thing we would do, just not at all, right? Differently. I want to hear all that again. That was so sick. I want to talk to you about that midtone. It is awesome. I love that. There it is. I want to talk to you about that tone. Now, a lot of people talk about his voice, and people have called that fry. People have called that an epiglottal distortion. I've heard people say, "Oh, I love Tom Barber's arytenoidal vocals." These days, I'm here more to tell you how I would approach it, because I feel like in the past 6 to 8 months, there's been all the names are changing very, very quickly, and people have their little, oh, I'm planting my flag here and I'm planting my flag here. And I'm a lot less interested in that. And I'm a lot more interested in color tones and textures, right? So is this what he's doing? Is this how I would do it? Yes. So to achieve a similar tone, right, what I would do is I would take this this very epiglottally sound, right? And you can get this a couple ways. You can talk like Arnold, I'm going to pump some iron, or strong with the force he is, Yoda, or like an orc, work. But this sound, right? It's not going to feel like your false chord, and it's not going to sound like, if you're out there and you can do a very common thing for vocalists is to learn Kargari at first. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like this soft, rattly, sort of clacking right at the top of your throat in the back. And this is generally not a sound I start people with, because when not moved forward into the front of the face, it can be very itchy. It can be very tickly. And so if you don't have kind of a relationship with forward placement already, it's just an extra hurdle. But I would take this, and I would start to slowly close on it. Right now, this feeling of closure is up at the top of my throat. It's not down. It's not on the vocal folds. It's not like I'm picking up a really heavy box. It's not like that at all. It's up. It's like I have a Kermit the Frog. This is really, I'm sure you've heard people talk about it this way before. This sort of Kermit the Frog, hi-ho, Kermit the ha. Almost feels like the back of my tongue and the back of my mouth. So when I take this and I sort of lean in on it, Now remember, I'm coming off of 2 weeks of laryngitis, no practice, so it's gonna sound rusty at first. Right, if I take this, the sky, right, throw in some on the onsets. That's how I would approach this sound, right? And I really love how it's sort of pushed back, because this sound is really aggressive and it's really monstery. So I feel like the mix decision here of being a little bit farther back really allows the beautiful elements of the instrumentation to come through. Super sick. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm gonna pause it there because the song looks like it's almost over, and I wish that it wasn't. So one thing, this tone, this more voicey, really relaxed, almost like I kind of in my head think of these like, you know, hey, this guy is up in Blave. Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Mike. You know, like pizza. Right? This sort of sound, I think of them as lazy vocals, right? And I don't mean lazy like the vocalist does not care. And I don't mean lazy as in they aren't work to learn, but I mean lazy as in they sound like they're done with just a ton of looseness in the body. And they have this certain like air of like, that sort of aloofness, right? They like, you remember like being young, and like we always thought like the kid with the like leather jacket standing in the corner acting like he didn't care about anything. We were like, oh, that kid is so cool. That's how I was anyway. It has that same vibe, right? And the way that, again, I would approach this is I would take just like a very loose false chord. Hey, really loose, really nothing that fancy. This sort of breathy, hey. You've seen the tutorials before, starting from a little grunt, or a throat clear. Aiming it at the back of the nose, chewing on something delicious. Yay. And then I would just talk like this a little bit while I'm doing it. Hey, oh, and then I get this tone right here. Oh, yeah. Right. And the importance of this is that you have to keep that throat loose and open. You have to keep that throat loose and open. You have to, of course, supplement that by good abdominal work, right? When I do this, hey, this guy, I feel a pretty significant amount of downward pressure and some push. If you look at my hands on the space just below my sternum, hey, whoa, oh yeah. And this support working from below is what allows me to keep my throat relaxed. And one thing I really like about this mix is that I'm hearing the pitch through too. I think his voice is always produced really, really well. And that's actually, while I think about it, that's a really good segue into how you could get something for free. So essentially, remember, I'm going to keep this very short, I promise, but it's very cool. I told you that this video is sponsored by Screamer by Ablaze Audio. And if you watch the channel, I almost never do paid sponsorships unless I think it's something cool or related to my audience. And this is something cool and related to my audience. So Ablaze Audio has made a mini plugin for me that utilizes their Screamer plugin, and it has a simple dial. So I got together with Joachim, the main brain behind the plugin, and we sat down and we created a plugin that represents how I like my voice to sound, how I like my voice to be produced. Something that gives a little grit, something that gives it a little reverb, delay, a little bit of seasoning, but still sounds genuine. So if you want to try out basically the same plugin that I would use on my voice, and I have been using on my voice, in the comments below, you can get basically what is Ablaze Audio's Screamer plugin in a mini version, totally free. It's the Cardivox specific plugin, so it's a voice plugin that's built on sounds that I enjoy, which is basically, again, give a little seasoning, help it sit in the mix, but don't do too much. Don't do too much. Keep the sound raw and genuine as much as is possible. And the best part is if you click a little button on that plugin when you have it opened up, it opens up Ablaze Audio. So if you decide you want to create your own tones, get more knobs to play around with, play with the delay, play with the reverb, play with the grit, there's a 35% off coupon plugged in right there. I'll also put the coupon in the description below. But so much of the way that we use our voice involves how we make it sit in the mix. Right? And how, you know, when we listen to Tom's voice, he's got these effects pushing it back, pushing it forward, making it sound almost like an old-timey radio in some spots, or making it really crunchy and forward. These are all things that are really important to put on top of an already good vocal take. You have to be a good vocalist. You know, you can only polish a turd so much. And this song has so much polish on pristine, beautiful vocal balance. Let's go ahead and keep going because I just heard the garage door open, and that means my son's about to get real loud. So let's keep going.
your first note.
Oh, shut up.
To your
What? No. Sweetwater. Okay, Sweetwater, I'm
next
cool with,
big
but
thing.
shush. Anyway, let's turn that off. You didn't pay for an ad spot, Sweetwater. Oh man, another thing I love about Tom is his patterns. Building up the tension and then leading into that huge at the end, boom, and then just a drop out. So sick. So sick. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up kind of fast because, like I said, my wife and son just got home and it's close to nap time and my son's in a bit of a tantrum stage. So it's going to sound like warfare out there. But essentially, this song is beautiful. This song is gorgeous. Tom was so smart about the way that he not only chose when to use his voice, but when to use certain tones, but how to use them, the patterns, the production, right? And I'm sure that's a team effort. But I love how Tom somehow manages to have like these very compressed vocal tones, these, you know, and then also sound so relaxed, sound so calm. And that's such a hallmark of good, even airflow, good even pressure, closing in the places we need to close, not squeezing in the places that we don't, having a good relationship with the fact that we can move our voice to the front of the face. We don't have to scream down in our throat and it hurts. We can scream in the front and it feels good and it even sounds better. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this song, I did too. Thank you for watching. Again, if you want a really badass plugin that is based on the way that I like my voice to be produced, the Cardivox version of Screamer by Ablaze Audio, check it out in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. There's more I'd like to talk about, but my time is short. So with that being said, I'm very excited for new Darko. This sounds like it might be the beginning of my, and they've had like this drum and bassy sound before, but just something about the way they're doing it here is extremely special. I'm very excited for what's on the horizon. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.